but I'm not on.
I'm so sorry. I think someone said something.
It was me.
Thank you. All right, I got it. We are now recording, so we are good to go. Um, Again, thank you for joining today. Can you see my screen okay? All
Mhm.
good? All right. So if you didn't catch the message, please mute yourself. There will definitely be a chance at the end where you can take yourself off mute and ask questions. But we just ask you mute in the meantime while we're going through the presentation. And then, like I said, afterwards, there'll be a time to talk. Drop your questions into the chat. Like I said, Jen Tresp is on here with me. She will be managing the chat. So please drop your questions in as we go along. If we don't answer it in the immediate moment, we will definitely address it at the end. And please remember to share this information today. So if there are athletic directors, others who are coaching or helping out at your school, please feel free to share this information with them. All right. So today we'll do a quick run through of all of our UCS staff. We may have a few changes from last year, some new updates for this season, and reminders, general reminders. We will go over the requirements needed to form a team, the requirements for coaches, the events that we offer in unified track and field, how we do divisioning, some reminders of dates and deadlines. And then, like I said, we will open it up for questions. So crazy to think some of us have snow on the ground right now. Crazy to think some of us have snow on the ground. Crazy to think some. Please mute yourself if you have not. Thank you. Quick breakdown of the UCS staff across the state. Like I said, I am down here in southeastern PA, what's called the Greater Philadelphia region. Hopefully, one of these names on here looks familiar to you, and they've been contacting you about unified track and field for where you're located. Tracy Huddleston is in the Greater Lehigh Valley Pocono region. Doug Shusey is northwest. That's the Erie area. Stephanie Taylor is out in Pittsburgh. Hayden Miller is also in Pittsburgh, specifically with our Pittsburgh Public City Schools. Kim Lope is Northeast PA, so Scranton area and above. And then if you are in the capital area or the Ridge and Valley regions, Lauren Salter is currently covering those two regions. Lauren is also the UCS Senior Director. She may pop on today, but she is currently also covering two positions as well that we are looking to hire. So again, hopefully one of these people has contacted you about track and field. If not, we can touch base at the end and make sure we get you connected with the right person. All right, some reminders and updates for this season. New this season, uniform change. We have heard a lot of feedback. The uniform bottoms, so the shorts that students wear do not have to be issued from Special Olympics. Students can wear their own shorts, but we ask that they match the school's top. So we provide all of the tops, the uniforms, and we'll provide bottoms if students want them. But we've heard sometimes that the bottoms we provided were not the most comfortable, flattering, etc. So we're allowing schools to let students wear their own bottoms. Again, they just need to match. So you still need to wear the top that Special Olympics issues. All students need to match in that top, but they can choose the kind of shorts that they want. They can be loose fitting, they can be compression style, whatever students find most comfortable, but that is new this year. You can wear your own shorts. And then some other information that is not necessarily new this year, but we are drawing to points of emphasis, really want to drive home a couple of reminders during competition. So at your track meets, coaches cannot provide hand-over-hand assistance or physical guidance during field events. If an athlete is not able to pick up their shot put or mini jump for whatever reason, they're in a wheelchair, they need some help picking it up, not a problem. Coaches can assist by handing the athlete the mini jab or the shot put. We'll get into the field event options a little bit later. But the athlete must be able to throw their throwing implement on their own. They need to release it, let go of it, throw it by themselves. If they are unable to do this, you should consider possibly putting them in another field event. Again, this is not a rule change, just something we want to emphasize this year. A few other points of emphasis is that students who are participating in a running event need to be able to independently run or walk at least 100 meters without help without physical assistance unless they have a visual impairment. So 100 meters is the shortest distance we offered. Like I said, we'll get to the events offered in a little bit, but it's important to note that students need to be able to go 100 meters down the track. That's the straightaway independently. They can't have someone next to them or behind them. This includes one-to-one staff, that sort of thing. That's considered pacing, to have someone next to or beside them. You cannot have that done. This also goes for running on the infield of the track next to a teammate who's in a race. Both of these are considered pacing, and students need to run their own independent race. Pacing will result in disqualification. Teammates can cheer them on. They can spread out along the track. Staff can spread out along the track, but they cannot run alongside someone. Holding hands with another individual will also result in disqualification. These rules, the pacing rules do come from Pennsylvania's Interscholastic Athletic Association, PIAA, who we partner with. All right, this year for postseason, we have 118 schools across the state of Pennsylvania participating in unified track and field, which is awesome. We are up numbers from last year, continuing to grow. 8 schools that are interested will qualify for our state championships. Our state championship is at Hershey. Oh, excuse me, that's Bocce. That's coming up. Our track state championship is at Shippensburg. It is Memorial Day weekend. Schools that are interested in attending will need to let us know much sooner in advance this year. It is an April 1st deadline for schools that are interested in attending states. You can only bring 12 students, 6 athletes, and 6 partners to the state championship. Obviously, not all schools will participate. We will have more information coming out about postseason specifics, league, and regional championships in the first half of March. But it is important that you begin conversations now with your teams to see if you have enough students interested for, advancement to states. All right, the coach's guidebook. This will be your #1 resource during the season. Those are at the printer. I think they actually may have started shipping out by now, but they are at the printer, and at least one copy will be mailed to every high school that's participating in unified track and field. We will also have an electronic copy of the guidebook up on our website. If you haven't, check out the Special Olympics PA website. Go to the Unified Champion Schools tab. We've done a lot of work on our website. There are a lot more resources than there were in the past. We are also, have made brand new track and field videos with how to do all the field events, where the start and finish lines are, how to measure the field events. Those videos are with our marketing department right now being wrapped up. We will send those videos out to everyone, and they will also be available on our website. Like I said, that guidebook is going to be your lifeline during track and field season. There's diagrams, pictures, step-by-step directions and instructions, all of the good stuff that you'll need. Just a reminder, everything in Unified Champion Schools track and field is metric. This is different than your varsity girls and boys track and field. College and international track and field are also metric. High school is not. So everything needs to be measured in meters and centimeters. So for example, if someone jumped what you would say is 15 feet, in metric, that's actually 4.57 meters. It's important when you have your home track and field meet that you are relaying this information to the workers helping at your meet. They're most likely used to helping at a varsity track meet where they measure feet and inches. Please, if you measure in feet and inches, convert everything before you send it to us. It's a time-consuming process, so it's really important that you measure in meters and centimeters just from the get-go. All right, a little bit about team and coach requirements for track. So the minimum to form a unified track and field team is 12 students. The most you can have is on a team is 40 students. If you have 12 to 24 team members, our recommendation is that you have 1 to 2 coaches. If you have 25 to 35 team members, we recommend 3 coaches. And if you have 35 to 40 team members, we recommend 4 coaches. It gets very hectic during field events. all three field events occur at the same time and students will be going in three different directions. It's like herding cats. It is chaos. And you definitely need help and support when the field events come in the terms of having other coaches with you. I think it's ideal to have three people because there's three different field events going on at the same time. You can send one adult to each. For all of our coaches, we do require a concussion training and the unified sports training. The links for these will also be in the coach's guidebook, and they can be sent out from your Special Olympics liaison. They're on NFHS, National Federation of High School Sports. They're free. They don't cost anything. You just need to take these trainings and send your certificate at the end to your liaison. There's also some optional trainings that we recommend. There's a general orientation to Special Olympics and a protective behaviors. Again, those are also free. Those are on the Special Olympics website. Totally two optional trainings, but could be helpful if you're new to the world of Special Olympics. A little bit more about requirements of the students on your team. This is a high school only program. Middle school students are not eligible. Students need to be in grades 9 through 12, except for those who are up to age 21, still receiving services from the district. So we partner, like I said, with the PIAA. What differentiates us slightly from the PIAA is that we allow students to participate for more than 4 years until they're 21. That's important to keep in mind when you're looking to put together students on your team. For this year, we know there have been some rule changes in Pennsylvania, special ed law. Students who are turning 22 who have opted in for that additional time frame of school till they hit their 22nd birthday are not eligible to participate in unified track and field. If you need this wording sent to you directly to your liaison so you have it, please let your liaison know and they can share this wording with you. These students are more than welcome to be team managers, part of a rec or intramural program, members of the unified club, but they are not eligible to be on the team roster. Again, this is students who have returned for X amount of time until they hit that 22nd birthday. Again, 12 is the minimum needed to form your roster, 40 is the maximum. Students participating in unified track and field are not eligible to participate in other spring sports. Actually, I said that wrong. That should be vice versa. Rewind. Students on other varsity spring sports are not eligible to participate in unified track and field. So if someone is on the baseball team, I think girls lacrosse is a spring sport. If they are on the traditional varsity track and field teams, they are not eligible to be on the unified team. A little bit about proportionality and how your roster should be set up. So we refer to students with an intellectual disability who are Special Olympics eligible as an athlete, and we refer to our general education students as partners. So again, an athlete is someone they're Special Olympics eligible for Special Olympics in their community. They have an intellectual disability, a developmental disability, including autism or cognitive delays. Those are your athletes. And again, general education students are your partners. In an ideal, perfect world, your team would be split 50-50 between athletes and partners. We know that's not always possible. So we ask that your ratio go up to 40% or 60% either way. 40% of your team could be special education students, 60% of your team could be general education, or vice versa. 40% of your team could be general education, 60% could be special education. If you're looking at a team of 12, you're looking ideally at 6 general ed students, 6 special education students to make that team of 12. But we also allow a 5-to-7 split. So 5 general ed, 7 special ed, or vice versa. 5 special ed, 7 general ed. As your team continues to grow, you have to keep that proportionality ratio in mind. Your UCS liaison can work with you directly on the ratios for your team. They can also help give you recruiting strategies for how to get more students to join your team. All right. The paperwork that is required. So it is required that all students have a PIAA medical on file. This does not come to us in Special Olympics, but this does need to go to your school's athletic office. Having a medical on file is your school's liability. If something happens to that athlete at an event, you have the physical on file. Again, please don't send it to us. We do ask for a lot of other things. We don't ask for that. Just make sure your school has a physical on file. The other paperwork that is required is a Special Olympics PA waiver. Hopefully you've gotten that. The link from that, it's regionalized from your liaison. If not, they should be sending it out shortly. This is our liability form, our waiver form that students have to fill out. If they are under 18, parent guardian needs to fill it out. If they are over 18, the students themselves can fill it out. It is a Google Doc. It takes no more than 5 minutes. Each student has to fill one out. We do have paper copies available, so just let your liaison know if you need a paper copy. Our new waiver system this year, if you were around for Bocce, this will be familiar. But our new waiver system this year is that students will not show up on your team's roster until the waiver is completed. So in the past, this waiver has been a requirement, but we've had difficulty getting all students to fill it out. This year, our computer system is set up so that students will not show up on your roster until this waiver is completed. It's different than last year. You cannot type directly into your roster. You will not be able to type students' names. You will not be able to add them. They will only show up when they have filled out the waiver. So it'll look a little bit like this, these boxes on the screen. So this is the competition tab. So when you get your roster link, you'll get your waiver link first. That's what you send out to schools. After you have students start to fill out the waiver link, your liaison will send you your roster link. On your roster link, there will be a tab called competition. The students' names will auto-populate here. I just filled 2 in as an example. On the next tab, it's called individual events entry scores tab. The students, again, will auto-populate their names. You can't type their names, but we did set it up so you could change if they're an athlete or partner. We realized during Bocce season, some students were filling out if they were an athlete or partner incorrectly. We had to go in on the back end and change it. We have given you access to that. If a student participated in Bocce, they still need to fill the track and field waiver out. It is a different waiver link. They still need to do the track one. Your liaison will help talk you through the roster process, and we'll be sending more information as well on the new waiver/roster process for this year. But again, the big thing is get that waiver link out to your parents now so students can fill out their rosters. Rosters are due, I believe it is March 13th. That is coming up on another slide. Also important is bib numbers. We at Special Olympics will assign a bib number to all of your students. So a bib number is that number that goes on the front of their uniform jersey. That's how we identify them when they are participating. Everyone will be given their own bib number. They have to use the same bib number all season. You only get one. So I recommend coaches that you collect all of those bib numbers, put them in a baggie or an envelope at the end of each meet, and you hang on to them until the next meet. If the athlete goes home with their bib number, there's a good chance you're not going to get it back. If you lose your bib number, you can make yourself a new one on a plain white piece of paper and use that instead. But your liaison will either mail your bibs or give them to you in person, and we will drop the bib numbers in on your roster. I apologize, this is not the right uniform date, and I just realized that. Uniforms are not due March 6th. They are due February 29th. I sincerely apologize for that typo. Hopefully you've gotten the uniform link from your liaison. If you have not, you should be getting it shortly. I understand that you may not know who is on your team yet, but it's still important that we order uniforms anyways. You can order a variety of sizes, up to 40. If you're a brand new school, if you're returning, we ask that you order a maximum of 15. Order a variety of sizes if you're not sure who's going to be on your team. I found that the uniforms tend to run small. I would recommend sizing up. If you think someone's maybe a medium, but you're not sure, it might be better to order a large just to be on the safe side. And you also get coach polos, 1 polo per coach. You can order a maximum of 4. Uniforms, the student uniforms need to be turned in at the end of every season. They cannot be kept. It's like any other sports uniform. They come back to you. If you have access to washers or dryers, I'd recommend you wash them before storing them for the next season. But they do need to come back to you at the end of the track season. Your equipment. So we do provide you with the following equipment when you come on board as a new school. Everyone should have 3 mini javelins or turbo jabs, 400 grams. We had some issues where some people had the bigger ones. Double check, but they should all be 400 grams. You should have 3 of them. I recommend this tail part here that you take a Sharpie and put your school's name on them because they all look similar, and at meets it gets confusing, and then you know which is yours. Each school also gets 1 6-pound shot put, both males and females, in unified throw with a 6-pound shot put. You also get a relay baton. If you are not a new school, if you're returning and you need replacement equipment, let your liaison know now what you need and why you need it. If a mini jab broke, if you lost something, just send your liaison an email and let them know what you need and why. And they'll be able to help you get new equipment. Practices should be held twice a week after school. Twice a week is the minimum. We do not practice during the school day. Everything is done after school, and there's a minimum of 3 regular season meets. Everybody has to host 1 home meet and attend 2 away meets. Some schools are interested in having more than that. That's fine. Your athletic director can coordinate with your liaison about that. Most meets across the state are tri-meets. In some of our smaller areas up in Erie, sometimes it's a dual meet. Sometimes it's even a quad meet with 4 schools because they're much smaller in size, but the majority of meets will be tri-meets across the state. Okay, a little bit about the events. We've mentioned a couple of them. So in the track portion of Unified Track and Field, we offer 3 running events. 100 meter, which is the straightaway, 400 meter, which is 1 full lap around the track, and 800 meters, which is 2 laps around the track. You will see that the most students do the 100 meter. It is the shortest. You will see the least amount of students do the 800 as it is a longer distance. Students can pick 1 track event. So they can pick 1 of the 3, or if they don't want to do a track event and they just want to do field, that is allowed as well. But they can pick 1 track event. Once they pick that event for the season, they must stick with it. For the field event, we offer 3. So when you have your meets, the running events go first. We do all the 100s, all the 400s, all the 800s, and then we break out into field events. There's no open pits like you see at varsity track and field. The 3 field events that we offer are the shot put. Like I said, everyone throws 6 pounds. The mini javelin, which is similar to the regular high school jab, but with the mini jabs, and then running long jump. Again, students can pick 1 field event. They don't have to do a field event if they just want to do a track event. That's fine. They can do 1 track and 1 field if they would like. We also offer 2 relays. Relays are at the very end of the meet after all the field events have concluded. A 4x100 and a 4x400. 4x100 is 4 runners. They each run 100 meters of the track to make up 1 full lap. And a 4x400 means there's 4 runners and they each run 1 full lap. Students, I think this is on the next slide. Yep, so again, we talked about students can do 1 track event, 1 field event, 1 relay event only. So if a student does a 4x100, they cannot do the 4x400 or vice versa. Again, students can't change events once the season begins. On the back end for us, we create all of the heat sheets, which are used to set up the divisions or the heats for your track meet. It is a very time-consuming numerical process because we put everyone in heats based on their entry times. So that is why we ask that students stay in their event all season. If something medical happens, they can no longer run an 800. Let your liaison know, they can work with you. So again, a little bit more about the relays. The relays have to be unified. So you need to have 2 athletes and 2 partners on your relay. You can designate 1 alternate athlete and 1 alternate partner. So there's 6 people total. Your alternates also need to stay the same all season, and you can only be on 1 relay team, including as an alternate. Cannot change. If you haven't done so, I just ask that you please mute yourself because I think there might be some background. There we go. Okay. So at your track meets, if the two athletes and two partners assigned to your relay team are not present, you can have one of the alternates that's assigned run. If not, then that relay just scratches for the day. You will have, or you might have more kids on your team than relay slots available. You can have 2 4x1s and 2 4x4s. So there may not be the opportunity for everyone to be on a relay. And if you don't have 4 relays, that's okay. If you just have 1 4x1, that's not a problem either. Wheelchair information. Students in manual wheelchairs may compete in all track events, relays, and field events. If a student is in a manual wheelchair, they will be put in a heat or a division of excuse me, I'm so sorry. They will be put in a division of students with and without disabilities. So they will be mixed with students who might be running or walking if they are in a manual or self-powered wheelchair. If a student is in a mechanical, so a powered wheelchair where they're using the gear shifts to drive their wheelchair and it's manually powered, they will be in their own event. We do not put them with manual wheelchairs. We do not put them with students who are running or walking. It is not safe to have them in the same event. They will be divisioned. If there's somebody else there, they will be divisioned with somebody else using a power chair. Those in power chairs, manual chairs, oh my goodness, those in power or mechanical chairs can compete in track events and field events, but not relays. It's just not safe. So divisions, this is how we set up the heats or the groupings for the races. So me personally, this is one of my favorite things about Special Olympics is that the heats for both track events and field events are mixed. We don't look at what grade they're in. We don't look at male and female. We don't look at disability or no disability. All we look at is their entry time or their entry distance for field events. And we put them with students who have like times or distances. So you may see boys and girls in the same heat. You may see athletes with and without disabilities in the same heat. That's what truly makes it unified. Everyone is playing on an equal playing field. Everyone has an opportunity to score points. So your liaison does that back work on getting your heat sheet set up for those divisions or heats for each event. Like I said, to me, that's the coolest part of Special Olympics, and seeing that happen at meets is awesome. In order to make that happen, you have to submit qualifying times to your liaison. So your roster is due, this is correct, your roster is due March 13th. Your qualifying times are due March 20th. On your roster, that individual events entry score tab that we talked about earlier also has the info for your time trials this year. So in addition to having the student's name that, like I said, only pops up once they filled out the waiver, you can identify if they're athlete or partner. We at Special Olympics assign their bib number. What you will need to do by March 20th is host your time trials. So at a practice at your school, your athletes and partners decide which event they want to participate in, and you time them or measure them in that event to give them a starting time for the season. There'll be a drop-down option for each student. You can pick 100, 400, 800, and same thing for the field events, shot put, mini jab, long jump. You can select what the student is participating in and put their entry time in. Same thing, you'll be able to determine if they're on a relay team as well. I know Erie, some parts of the state, the weather does not cooperate in March, and your date may need to change for when your time trials is due. If that is the case, coordinate with your liaison or they will coordinate with you. But it is very important that you have these times and distances entered because that's what we'll use to make the heat sheets for your first meet of the season. After the first meet, what we do is we look at the results. If a student, let me go back to slide, if John ran faster in his 100 at the first meet, so say he was entered at a 2 minutes, 56 seconds, and he ran 2 minutes, 40 seconds, we will then take that new faster time and use that as their time to heat or division them for the next meet. If they ran slower, so say if John ran 3 minutes and 2 seconds, I would go back to using his submitted entry time score. So we don't take the slower time or distance, same for field events. If they threw further, we use that distance. If they didn't, we use the submitted entry score. So we don't take slower or lower distances, but if they go faster or throw farther or jump further, we use that as their new score to heat them for the next meet. When we make our divisions, again, so we Special Olympics go in and make the divisions for your meets, we try to keep the range of scores in between a 15 to 20% range. Sometimes we do expand it a little bit to have divisions of 3 or more competitors. That is not always the case. There are some times where there are only maybe 1 or 2 people in a division based on their entry scores. So this is that case. If there is somebody in a division of 1 by themselves, say they're in a powered wheelchair and they're the only one, if they go faster than their entered time or distance, they are awarded 5 points, which is comparable to first place. If they don't beat their qualifying time, if they are slower, don't throw as far, they're awarded third place. They're awarded 3 points, which is comparable to second place. Like I said, this is used for power wheelchairs and for any time a student ends up in a division by themselves. All right, some additional info and some dates and deadlines. So again, you all took the first step by attending this webinar today. There's one tomorrow for those who were not able to make it today. Our next webinar is Tuesday the 20th. This webinar will go over information about the state championship. Even if you're not sure if you want to go to states, it might be good for you to attend this webinar just so you can hear what states is about and get a little bit more info before you fully make that decision not to participate in states. Practices can start the 4th. That's the same as other PIAA spring sports. Again, I apologize. The uniform deadline is 2/29, not the 4th. That was not corrected in here. I will correct that before tomorrow. If you have not gotten the uniform link from your liaison, you should very shortly. We will also be sending out a coaches quiz that will be due March 8th. It's a Google Doc. Again, should only take you a couple minutes to fill out. On March 14th, we will have another webinar on how to use the electronic score sheet and how to set up for your home meet. That one is very important to attend. It helps if an athletic director is also able to attend so they can hear a little bit more about how track meet should be set up. Rosters are due the 13th. Physicals are also due to your athletic director. Actually, I take that back. Physicals are due on a different basis for each district. Some districts want students to have their physicals in before they start practicing. It varies district to district. On our end, they are due at the same time as the waivers and roster link, but please check with your athletic director as to when physicals are due, what the policy is for your individual school district. March 20th, again, is when your time trials are due. Regular season meets will start the 25th of March and run through May 6th. April 1st is when that letter of intent is due for all schools. So even if you're not interested in attending states, you'll still have to fill out the paperwork saying, no, we are not interested. We have dates in here for our regional championships. That'll be an event that's held for schools interested in going to states only. And then our league championships will be the 2nd and 3rd week in May. More information will come on postseason. We won't be sharing specifics today on postseason, but that information will be forthcoming. And again, states is at Shippensburg. It is Memorial Day weekend. It's important to note. Just again, the coaches quiz link will come out. We encourage you to use your guidebook. It's an open book quiz. So definitely use your resources to help you. Just some additional reminders. Make sure you get on that webinar for meet management and the score sheet. And the webinar next week for state championships is also important to get on. Again, we'll share postseason details down the road. Mention those new training videos that will be shared shortly and also on our website. If you are a new coach or a coach who just wants a refresher training, your liaison should be coordinating directly with you for an in-person training that should happen by the end of this month. Whew. All right, that was a lot of talking. Thank you to everyone. I will try to answer some of the questions that are in the chat box now. I do not believe there's a female option for coach polos, while the uniform polos run small. I would say the Coach Polos run big. Jen did answer that one. Thank you.
I would agree with that completely.
Yeah, the Coach
Okay.
Polos.
The next question was about the paper SOPA waiver. They asked if coaches had to enter them into the Google form if they did it by paper, and the answer to that is yes.
Yep.
And the last question was that a mini jab was messed up, and they just wanted to a reminder that you should ask your school liaison. That would be your SOPA liaison to your school, and they will get you a replacement.
Perfect. Thank you, Gina.
And then who has to take the head coach's quiz is the head coach.
Recommendations if you have
How to cut.
if you have more than 40 kids. I know it can be tough. Some of the bigger suburban schools down here in southeastern PA, schools do it differently. Some do it based on seniority. They go with older kids first. Some districts go with paperwork. Whoever gets their paperwork in first. If you have extra kids, I would recommend making them managers. You can make them student coaches. They can, if it's okay with your district, they can travel with you to meets. They won't compete, but they can help out at those meets. They can be the ones taking your kids to the field events, making sure athletes are in the right place at the right time.
They can also help with
Yeah.
scoring and measuring.
Yeah, definitely. They can come to practices if your school allows it. They can fully be part of the team, just not on the official competition roster. Rocco, yes, the waiver link that was sent out in a mass email for Southeastern PA schools yesterday. I can't speak for other regions. Hopefully it is coming out to them soon if it hasn't, but the waiver link was sent out for Southeastern PA. And yes, we will definitely email a copy of this slide to everyone. I am going to stop sharing, stop recording if I can figure out what that button is. If anyone has other questions, feel free to ask them now. Jen, do you want to? I'm going to try to stop recording. If you, I think something else just came in.